Good morning student. I welcome you to my class and today I am going to tell you about a new topic, that is story writing. We all know what is a story. We keep on hearing the story from our grandparents, from our parents, and then in the market we buy books for some wonderful and interesting story. Have you ever thought that what is a story? How to write a good story? And you also have to write a story as it is in your syllabus. Okay. So, children, story writing is an art. You can write it. Story writing is an art that requires a lot of communication skill. Okay, it is an art that requires a lot of communication skill and imagination. So basically, your imagination plays an important role in writing a story. First of all, it requires the art of narrating things. How you narrate the things. Children, narrate means to explain the things in an interesting way. So, how you explain any things in an interesting way, that is a story writing. You will be given, now children, there are two types of composition and story writing. I told you earlier also two types of composition are there, long extended composition and short extended composition. So your story in short extended composition, it is of 50 words, like notice writing, postcard writing, okay, message writing. These will come in the category of short composition. In the long composition, you have to write letter writing, story writing, diary entry, email writing, all these things. So once again, my dear student, I repeat what is a story writing. As I told you, there are two types of composition in our English language. One is short extended composition and the other is long extended composition. So story writing is a long extended composition. The word limit for story is 150 to 160 words or 170 words. Okay, it is less than 200 words nowadays. Okay, it will be given in the question paper about the word limit, that in how many words you have to write the story. Not only that, children, sometimes visual or verbal clues are also given when you write a story. So let me tell you what is a verbal clues and what is a visual clues. In verbal clues, lot of hints are given to write a story. You have to read it, you have to think, because story writing is purely based upon your thinking and about your imagination power. The more you think, the more you imagine, the more good stories you can write. Then only you will be able to write the interesting stories. Now children, so I was telling you about verbal and visual hints. Verbal hints, what is a verbal hint? Verbal hint are those hints which tell us about, children, the clues will be given and you have to take the help from those clues. Now here I would like to clear one thing to you, that children, whenever you write the story and you have to take the help of the hints or the clues which will be given in the verbal clues, then children, you have to think about your own ideas. Let me revise this very important point once again. Whenever verbal clues will be given or visual clues will be given, then children, you also have to take the help from those clues, but at the same time you have to write the story by taking the help of those clues. Okay, so this is, and children, that means 50% if you take the ideas from the given clues and 50% idea should be your own. And by mixing these ideas, you have to write your own story. Okay, now let me tell you what is a visual clue. In visual clues, pictures will be given. You have to see the pictures very carefully and try to think about the theme of the given picture. And according to the theme, you have to develop your imagination, you have to think, you have to create your own image story. Okay, so you can't go against the stated theme. Whatever the theme is given, you have to take the help of those themes. Now, children, so once again, I tell you some important point about the story. It is a long, extended composition of about 130 to 150 words. Okay, visual and verbal hints will be given. You have to mix your own ideas and then frame your story. Okay, then you have to frame your story. Well, children, so these are the important point of writing the story. Now I would like to discuss the salient feature of a good story. So basically, developing and writing a good story needs the art of narration. What is a narration? How to explain, how to develop your creativity, how, and for that you have to think. So you have to basically, children, you have to develop your art of narration to write good stories. You have to narrate the incident in a sequential order, leading to the final conclusion. Again, this is a very, very important point. Whatever point, children, you are thinking, you have to jot down those points in a rough sheet of a paper or on a rough work. You can at the right hand side of your work. And children, finally, you have to, children, bring it into sequence. That means which point should come first, which point should come last. Okay, and the pronoun I should always be written with a capital letter. Generally, we write a good story in the past tense, but then you can use any tenses in writing a story. So you have to narrate the incident in a sequential order leading to the final conclusion. Okay. Now, then children, the next point is you have to follow the word limit. Okay, whatever the word limit of a good story should be there, you have to develop, right? Generally 120 to 150 words. Nowadays, in our time, we used to get 200 words to write a story, 200 to 220 words. But nowadays, CBSE has lessened this word limit. So now your word limit will be, children, will be only 120 to 150 words. Whatever the word limit will be there, children, that word limit you have to write it in a, that word limit you have to, children, write it in your answer scripts. Okay, if you will write less, negative marking will be there. If you will write more, then also negative writing points will be given to you. Okay, now children, your story writing, if it is of 120 words or 150 words or between 120 to 150 words, then also children, you have to write the story in 3 to 4 paragraphs. You cannot write the story in one paragraph. You have to divide the paragraph. Okay, so first will be your introductory paragraph. Okay, that means how you have to start your story. For that you have to think, like once upon a time a boy was there or a merchant was there, something like that you have to think. You cannot directly write anything else. Okay. And then of course children, you have to, in the second and third paragraph, you have to write the main content, story or main content of the story will be there. And in the third point children, third or fourth paragraph is your concluding paragraph, where you have to children give the suggestion, you have to criticize, or you can write your some important points, concluding points to end your story. Okay. Now the beginning and the concluding line must support the main part or the events described in the story. Okay. So your introductory paragraph or the beginning and the concluding lines must support the main part or the event described in the story. Okay. And then of course confine your narration to 120 to 150 words according to the word limit given. And children, you have to follow the guideline, whatever hint, if the hint is given. Now let me tell you how in what way now the hints are given in the question paper. So first, visual hint, some picture will be given to you. You have to see those pictures very carefully and then you have to write your story. Second, verbal hints. Hints children, you have some hint will be given, some clues will be given. You have to take the ideas of those clues. Okay, you have to think about the theme and then you have to develop your own ideas. As I told you earlier also, if 50%, if you have to write the story, then 50% ideas you have to take your own and 50% ideas you have to children, 50% ideas you have to take your own and 50% ideas you will have to create by your thinking or by your imagination. You have to mix those ideas and then you have to write a very interesting story sequence wise. Okay. Then children, you have to develop the story. Sometimes sentences are given, like last year the question came in the children, the question came, okay, like one sentence was given, like once upon a time a boy was going on the road at midnight and suddenly dash dash dash. And now children, you have to develop your story. This is a bit tough, but this type of question is also being put in the board examination or by the teachers of class 9. Okay, so all these things you have to see. Now children, then children, no grammatical error should be there. Your sentence should be written in such a way that we can understand the development of your story. No confusion, no complexity should be there. Try to write the story in past tense and in easy sentences. Don't use too many flowery words in writing the story, that your story be simple as well as interesting. So anybody can read your story and they should find that your story should be interesting and simple. The more simple you will write, the less mistake you will be liable to do. Okay. Unless you feel your English is too good, you can frame sentence with the complex words, with the flowery words, then only you can use it. Avoid spelling mistakes and grammatical error. Now children, let me tell you the most important thing when you write the story. Whenever I have discussed the writing section in my videos, definitely your writing section will be incomplete without telling you the format. So let me tell you the format of a story. I will first tell and then I will write it on the board. Okay. So children, whenever we have to write a good story, there should be the title and heading of the story. A title and heading is very important, and that heading and title should be according to the theme of the story. Don't write too long sentence while writing your title. You can write a thought if some story is there, okay, related with honesty. So you can write honesty is the best policy, okay, but not too long sentence. Then children, after writing your title, leave one line and then you have to write your story. In the story writing, introductory and concluding paragraph should be there. This you have to see. Suppose if you are writing the story in 4 parts, in 4 paragraphs, so first paragraph should be your introductory paragraph, second and third the main content of the story, and fourth is your concluding part of the story. The moment you end your story, student, from the very next line you have to write the moral of the story. Okay, now remember this thing, your moral should and your title of the story should not be the same. Many students ask this question, if suppose I tell you to write the story related, I have given some hint, okay, the title of the story is honesty is the best policy. So children, this don't write this as a moral also. Your moral and title should be different. Okay, so now let me tell you about I am going to write about the format of a story writing. So you can jot it down. So I am now going to write the format of a story. So here you have to write the title, okay, or a heading, leave one line, okay, and from the next line you have to write the content of the okay, and then here you have to write the alright. So this is the format of the story. Let me explain you student the format of the story. You have to write the title of the story according to the theme which is given. Alright, and then your content of the story should be there according to the given words, and of course children, finally you have to write the moral of the story. Your moral should be related with the theme of the story. You have to see this thing, your moral should be there according to the theme of the story. This you have to see. Okay, so children, I am going to tell you one story, okay, and I am going to show you the picture and how the theme is developed. So this is the story related with visual hint. You can see children, a picture is there. This is the picture. Can you see the picture? Okay, see for 1 minute. This is the picture, and now I am going to children read the question for you. Develop a short story with the help of the given visual hints. Give a suitable title to your story, and it should be of 150 words. So this is the question. Pictures 1 again I am showing. Okay, this came in one of the sample papers. So this is the picture, student. This is the picture of the story, and you can see a person who is a sailor. Okay, you can see it is a dress of a sailor. So your title should be something related with the sailor. Now sailors are always brave, so we can think the title something like that, a brave and courageous sailor. So you can write the story, a brave and a courageous sailor. Now how you are going to develop your story. Once upon a time, see my introductory paragraph. Once upon a time I went to the beach with my friends. We were quite happy. We arrived at the beach at around 10:30 a.m. We selected a spot by the sea and placed our packets on the benches. After reaching the beach, we decided to play some games on the sand, as we had brought 2 footballs and there were 6 children. We started jumping and exchanging the ball with one another. During our play, the ball slipped away near the date tree and I hurried towards the tree to bring back the ball. Fortunately, I saw a very strange man near some bench. He was a very children brave person. He was a very 1 minute children, tall man and wearing a long coat and had a big knife was fitted into his strong belt, as he had a different look and dress. I took interest in watching him. I went near the man who was calling someone and a hawk was flying near his leg. The strange man was lame in his left leg, but he was filled with courage and excitement. I thought him to be a seaman and desired to meet him. Fortunately, his eyes caught my presence and he called me there and then. I gathered courage and went to him. The man was pleased with me. I asked him several questions and he politely answered them all. During our gossip, I came to know that he was John Ince and he was a sailor by profession. He had brought up the hawk since he was of 5 years. He belonged to France and his father was also a sailor. In the meantime, my friends arrived at the spot. They were also surprised at the sailor. Although he was lame, he often liked to visit the new place. Now he is in our country and would stay for 2 more days. Really, he was bold and courageous sailor. Okay, so what would be the moral, student? A man cannot be judged by his appearance. A man cannot be judged by his appearance. Okay. Now, one more story. Here the hints will be given. So develop a story with the help of a starting line given below. So this is again a new type of question. So now let me read the hints. It was my first exam. I was already late. I dashed toward my scooty and put the key in the ignition, but it would not start. Panic stricken, I rushed toward the main road. Okay, so children, here I have given you the hint. Now how you are going to continue? First you have to write your heading. So my first exam is a suitable heading for it. And then once upon a time, I may share you my real experience. It is a very, and children, you can write like this. Once upon a time, I had got up from a disturbed sleep as I was going to appear at my board examination. This was both the first exam of my life and a crucial one. I had a quick bath and breakfast to complete the first 2 essential as my mother's rule book. Somehow, due to nervousness, I seemed to be running out of time. I picked up my bag containing all the essential and ran out towards my scooty. I put the key in the ignition and ready to leave, but the scooty did not start. I started having butterfly feeling in my stomach now. When all efforts had failed, I rushed towards the main road since only half an hour was left for the examination to start. Panic seemed to be gripping me gradually. I started saying my prayer, asking the Almighty to help me. Suddenly, I saw a gentleman coming out of a house in his car. He also seemed to be in a hurry. I requested him to drop me at the exam center. After narrating him all that happened, the person was kind enough to give me a lift, but my happiness was short-lived. On the next crossing, there was a big traffic jam. The cars were standing bumper to bumper. My pulse rates began to got up and I started sweating. Then I saw a motorbike zigzag its way from behind and stop in front of our car. I quickly got down from the car and went near the bike and told the person about my dilemma. He readily agreed to my request and started the bike, which again zigzagged past the thick traffic. I had only 10 minutes to reach my exam center. I kept praying and taking breath to overcome my nervousness. All of a sudden, the bike stopped, and I could not believe my eyes. I was in front of my examination center. I thanked the person and thanked the Almighty too, and rushed inside, panting and puffing. So what should be a suitable title? The suitable title for this, where there is a will, there is a way. So children, two type of stories I have discussed with you. One was children visual hints and the verbal hints both. Okay, so with this I end my video here. Thank you and have a nice day ahead. Good day.